Forget Land Rover Defender, forget Toyota Land Cruiser, because BYD has decided it wants a piece of the pie. And it has created this, a hybrid off-road monster with big tech and massive luxury. Welcome to EV.com. This is BYD's off-road monster, the Fang Cheng Bao 8, or also known as the Leopard 8. Gotta love that BYD naming. It is the second vehicle released under the brand after the Leopard 5, but this one here is definitely more luxury, more tech, and more power. This hybrid beast comes with up to 737 horsepower, cutting-edge technology from Huawei, and enough off-road capabilities to take on the great outdoors. Let's take a look at why this might be the most exciting off-road SUV from China yet. First things first, just look at this thing. It's not the beautifully sculpted, highly aerodynamic, pure electric cars that we're used to, and that's because this is a plug-in hybrid, a PHEV. So who cares about aerodynamics, right? And this thing looks aggressive, certainly compared to its smaller brother, the Bao 5. And it's big too at almost 5.2 meters, although I will say the design does the best it can to make it look not so massive. Although there is quite a lot of shiny black plastic cladding, which is another favorite of the BYD brand. I might go so far as to say there's probably too much on this car. While it looks great now, in a few years or after a few dirty off-road trips, you might not say the same thing. And we have a LiDAR unit at the front of the car, which we'll talk a little bit about later, as well as retractable door handles, although these are the heavy duty kind. Retractable door handles on an off-roader, I bet that's something you haven't seen before. What do you think? Does the Leopard 8 manage to look off-road ready while looking sleek and futuristic at the same time? Make sure you leave your comments below. Now step inside the cabin of the Fang Cheng Bao 8 and you are met with an incredibly premium cabin. Premium, yet still managing to remind you that this car is under the BYD brand. And I love BYD interiors because there's so much to talk about, but let's just try and keep it brief, shall we? So they have tried to mix utilitarian and ruggedness with modern convenience and tech comforts. For example, you have these massive, thick grab handles for when you're falling down a mountain and you're holding on for dear life. And we also have these huge tactile buttons here in the middle, which make you feel like you're on a Boeing 747. I'd probably say they feel almost exactly the same as they look, which is a little bit cheap. I'm not sure how hard you want to be smashing these. You could probably smash them harder than a normal button, because why press a button gently when you can smash it hard? Then on the other side of this is the screen situation in this car, and it's the most screens I have ever seen in a car. It's more screens than I have inside my house. So let's go through these screens one by one, shall we? So here in the middle we have a 17.3-inch infotainment screen. I don't know how big these screens are going to get. For me, they crossed the line a little bit further back. 17.3-inch. You're not going to miss any information on the screen. Here at the driver's side, we have another 12.3-inch screen for the driver's cluster. This screen is huge. It can display lots and lots of information for the driver. Then on the passenger side, we have another 12.3-inch entertainment screen. So this is for the passenger to be able to watch whatever they want on the go. And we're not finished. There's actually a digital rear view mirror. So while the rear view isn't too bad, obviously we have a big tire on the back, which doesn't help. We have a digital rear view mirror here. And then finally, I think finally, we have a 50-inch heads-up display here for the driver. Is it just me, or is this too many screens? Make sure you leave your comments below. We also have an 18-speaker DVLA system in here. It's probably one of the best sound systems I have experienced in a car. While I was driving today, I was listening to my music very loud, as I like to do, and I had it the loudest I could possibly stand. It was still under half of the maximum volume. 2 thumbs up. Oh, and did I mention massaging seats? Not many off-roaders can say that, can they? As well as heated and ventilated, so you stay nice and comfortable when you're on your off-road adventures. Underneath the armrest here is a fridge or warming unit, depending on how you want to use it. We also have some ambient lighting and a fragrance kind of curator. And the thing that confuses me about the interior of the Bao 8 is that it kind of wants you to be comfortable yet uncomfortable at the same time. But my question is, don't people go off-roading to go to the desert, go to the mountain, to get away from these flashing lights and massive screens? Get away from this overstimulation. What do you think? So in the back of the Bao 8 is more or less exactly how you would expect it to be. So the driver's seat is in my position, and here I am sitting very comfortably. I have probably 3 fingers between my knee and the seat in front. Headroom as well, I probably have 2 to 3 fingers above my head. So loads of legroom, loads of headroom. These rear seats actually are capable of reclining a little bit, although they are in a 60-40 split. So both of you this side need to agree on your seating position. They can also be moved forward and backwards slightly to give you a little bit more room, or to give more room to the people behind you if they need it. These left and right seats are heated and ventilated. In the center here, we actually have a pretty comprehensive control unit. In terms of seat layouts, the Bao 8 comes in either a 2-3-2 like this version here, or a 2-2-2, which will obviously have 2 captain's chairs in the second row. Under the hood, the Leopard 8 packs a 2-litre turbo ICE engine paired with 2 electric motors. In terms of the power breakdown in this plug-in hybrid, we get 200 kilowatts of power from the ICE engine, we get another 200 from the front motor, and another 300 from the rear motor, giving a total power output of 550 kilowatts, or 738 horsepower, which is certainly a good amount of horsepower, and a peak torque of 760 Newton meters. That's enough to launch this massive 4x4 from 0 to 100 in just 4.8 seconds, which is pretty impressive. And I guess the question is it a capable off-roader? Well, I can't actually answer this question today, but what I can tell you is this. The Leopard 8 comes with BYD's D-SUS-P body control system, giving up to 200 millimeters or just 20 centimeters in suspension adjustment. That means you should be able to tackle almost any terrain, including snow, sand, mud, and water crossings with relative ease. The ground clearance depends on your suspension, but will be up to 310 millimeters, which easily beats out a Land Rover Defender and even an Ineos Grenadier. A maximum wading depth of around 85 centimeters is more or less the same as the Land Rover Defender. And with approach and departure angles of 34 and 35 degrees respectively, this thing is built for adventure. And to make sure you don't get stuck, it has a low-speed four-wheel drive mode, 3 automatic differential locks, and multiple driving modes from sand to snow. I think with the Bao 8, you'll be ready. Now let's talk range. So the Bao 8 comes with one of BYD's Blade LFP batteries. The one in here is 36.8 kilowatt hours, which will give you a CLTC range of around 125 kilometers. So that's 125 kilometers of pure electric driving, which should be enough to get you around the city and for those shorter trips. There is a lot of power in those electric motors, and this car is quite heavy, so you might find yourself chewing through that battery very quickly. A max charging speed of 120 kilowatts means you can take this from 30 to 80% in just 16 minutes. It also has V2L, only 6 kilowatts though, so it's probably enough for some small appliances when you go on your camping trips. What you definitely don't want to do is to drive this thing purely on gas. With a 90-litre tank and an efficiency of 8.5 litres per 100 kilometers, it's definitely not the most efficient way to drive your Leopard. So of course, with an off-road SUV, practicality is very important. As you will see, the trunk space is a bit rubbish. I don't have any official figures from BYD in this because they didn't give any. What you'd probably end up doing most of the time is having this third row folded down, and they fold down flat and electronically, just with the push of a button here on the right. But it goes even further than this, because we can actually even fold down the second row seats from here. So if I want to have massive amount of trunk space, if I'm loading a sofa or a moose carcass, I don't know what you put in these things, I can put the second row seat down as well, though this row doesn't fold completely flat. And I wouldn't say, unless you had a kind of custom design mattress, that this would be ideal for sleeping in. We are also able to adjust the suspension to make unloading and loading more comfortable, depending on what it is you're loading and maybe how tall you are. And here is something you don't get on a lot of off-roaders, which is advanced driver assist features. The Bao 8 comes with Huawei's Chenqin ADS 3.0. Although this was developed and released prior to BYD's big announcement of its God Eye, which would be released in its vehicles and come at different levels. We do know that Huawei has great strengths when it comes to autonomous driving. You know, it works with a number of different brands, it has some of its own brands underneath its umbrella, and they all do a very good job when it comes to autonomous driving. So this again reflects this car's desire to be a kind of chameleon, if you will, so it can adapt to many different off-road conditions and also be very competent at self-driving within the cities, on the highways, etc. My only problem is that when you try to be two things at once, is the result neither of the two. So exactly how is this car to drive? Well, it probably drives similar to how it looks, in that it has great comfort. It does wallow a lot, you know, it's a big car, so when you move, you know, you do feel the body rolling. And the power is there, but you don't really feel like you really need to use it. I haven't driven this aggressively at all in the days I have been driving it, and that's not something that I can always say. The pedal is quite light, so you don't have this instant push of torque that you sometimes get from pure electric cars. And especially in the comfort and the economy modes, it's very nice for just cruising around. It does have the ability, it does have a very quick 0 to 100 kilometers an hour time, but the problem is, as soon as you put down your pedal, the nose instantly lifts and you begin to lose sight of the road in front of you. So it's not really a car that you really want to be driving very fast. It is capable of it, has a good amount of torque, it has a good amount of traction, which are things which are going to come in very useful when you're on your off-road trips. The Bao 8 starts at just under 380,000 yuan in the China market, which is just over $52,000, which is a lot of car for your money. Now that is serious value for what you get: a rugged off-roader with a powerful hybrid powertrain, an interior packed with luxury and tech. What more could you possibly want? And there's more. While the Bao 5 has almost been confirmed as coming to global markets like Europe under the Denza brand, the Bao 8 may also be on the list. But the question is, if it comes, will it come at the right price? So what do you think of BYD's Fangchengbao Bao 8, an off-road monster or just a sheep in wolf's clothing? Make sure you leave your comments below. Don't forget to give us a like and a subscribe. I'll see you next time.